When you think back to some of the first videos you ever watched on YouTube, who do you think of? What videos can you look back on and remember vividly? For many people, their first real exposure to YouTube was none other than Jenna Marbles. This is the story of Jenna Marbles. So Jenna Nicole Morey, who would later become forever immortalized on the internet as Jenna Marbles, was born on September 15th, 1986 in Rochester, New York. Her father was a chemist and her mother did a lot of things but was mainly a badass, according to Jenna. Jenna had one aunt who was an Emmy award-winning broadcast journalist and another aunt that held a high-level position at the Library of Congress. Jenna's childhood was normal. She participated in sports like gymnastics, dance, and baseball while she was really young, and diving, bowling, and softball as a teenager, and was, by all accounts, a very gifted and versatile athlete. At a young age, Jenna also showed a remarkable talent for music. She played clarinet but was also very interested in the piano, so she, alongside her brother, took lessons from a classically trained pianist. Jenna was able to learn and remember songs by ear, even as a very young child. Jenna also had a deep love for animals from the time she was a very young child and had several pets growing up. But because of her mom's allergies, her pets weren't just the normal cats and dogs, but instead the more atypical hamsters, ferrets, and gerbils. She dreamed of a career where she could actually work every day with animals. But despite what appeared on the outside as a normal, all-American life, Jenna struggled as a child to really fit in. She identified as the weird girl who loved animals, but she really felt inadequate when compared to all the other kids in her class. Jenna attended a school where being smart was actually cool, and in a sea of smart kids, she didn't feel so smart. I mean, she felt average. Her years in middle school were really sad, lonely, and lacking in true direction. Jenna has told how she would watch reruns of the 1950s sitcom I Love Lucy, and she saw Lucy as an example of freedom, and she found herself wanting to emulate that freedom that she saw from Lucy. As we look back and reflect on Jenna's career as a YouTuber, we can almost see the comedic influence of Lucille Ball in Jenna's videos and how much watching those reruns again and again and again really affected Jenna when she was young. Jenna graduated high school at the age of 17, and she really wanted to live in the big city. Even though she felt that she was only taking the regular people classes as opposed to the honor levels classes in school, Jenna was accepted to Suffolk University in Boston. Her loneliness that she experienced when she was in high school and grade school, it followed her to Suffolk, and Jenna found adjusting to the big city and a college life really difficult, a lot harder than she thought it would be. She struggled to make friends in the beginning, but all that changed when she joined the softball team. The softball team gave her an instant group of friends, and for the first time in Jenna's life, she actually felt comfortable in her own skin, and she felt accepted by her peers at school. Her new friends embraced Jenna for who she was, a little bit silly, a little bit quirky, and a little bit weird. With her newfound confidence in her softball team and a new MacBook, Jenna discovered iMovie, which she initially used to create video projects for school. But since MacBooks don't actually come with a DVD burner, Jenna needed a place to store the video projects. On April 5th of 2006, Jenna first stumbled onto YouTube as GMorey66. And little did she know, the free website she used to upload and store her video projects for school and share them on Facebook would change the trajectory of her life forever. Jenna graduated from Suffolk at the age of 21 with a degree in psychology, but she wanted to continue her education and go to grad school. She sent only one application. No safety schools, nothing. And it was to a Boston University program that only had 13 spots available. Somehow, this girl, who grew up feeling out of place and inferior to her above-average classmates, earned one of those 13 spots. By the age of 22, Jenna graduated from Boston University with a master's degree in sports psychology and counseling. As she would later say on Larry King Live,
I wanted to work with athletes in performance enhancement, so helping, a hitter get out of their slump in baseball.
And despite all of her hard work getting her degrees, she struggled to find a job in her field, even in a city that is full of sports like Boston. So she worked a ton of different part-time jobs, and this included cleaning tanning beds, bartending, modeling, and even go-go dancing. In 2008, as you recall, I mentioned that she loves animals. Jenna adopted a dog named Marbles. Unbeknownst to Jenna, Marbles would soon become an integral part of Jenna's personal brand and worldwide stardom. As Jenna was working one of her many side gigs as a promo model, she landed a gig for Barstool Sports. Barstool Sports is a very popular digital media company that focuses on sports and contemporary pop culture. Eventually, Jenna met David Portnoy, the head of Barstool Sports, and he asked her to be his assistant. She took the job with excitement, and so began Jenna's journey to social media stardom. Jenna has said of her time working for Portnoy at Barstool Sports,
the owner, Dave Portnoy, asked me if I wanted to be his assistant, and I cried because I was so excited, and he taught me everything about the internet, like how to be funny and how to blog and how everything worked.
Around this time, Jenna's mother was actually applying for jobs of her own. And she was really concerned that when she would type her own last name, which was Jenna's last name at the time, Mori, into Google, then Jenna's videos would pop up. So thinking that her daughter's social media presence could potentially hurt her own chances of getting a job, on February 16th of 2010, at the request of her mom, Jenna created a brand new YouTube channel with the username Jenna Marbles, removing her association publicly with her family name Maury, and that's why we now know her as Jenna Marbles. Portnoy, her boss at Barstool Sports, quickly saw potential in Jenna, so he actually gave her her own blog called Stool LaLa. For 6 months, Jenna poured her heart and soul into this blog, but unfortunately, it wasn't making her happy. But making videos, on the other hand, that did make her happy. Portnoy recognized this too. However, Jenna and her boss couldn't see eye to eye or find any common ground when it came to creating videos. Jenna really struggled to truly connect with the male-dominated audience of Barstool Sports. They ultimately had a falling out and Jenna left the blog. On July 9th of 2010, Jenna had an idea, and she didn't know it at the time, but this idea would totally change her life. She decided to make a video called How to Trick People into Thinking You're Really Good Looking. You might have seen that video that has millions upon millions of views. She was still go-go dancing at night, and so she turned her laptop camera on and she started recording. The video is only 2 minutes and 36 seconds long, and in it, Jenna filmed herself getting ready to go to her go-go dancing job, adding her own hilarious twist and sarcastic humor that we know and love her by. At that point, by July of 2010, beauty gurus were out on the scene. They'd already started popping up all over YouTube, and people likely clicked on Jenna's video expecting just another basic run-of-the-mill makeup tutorial. But what they got instead was a more Saturday Night Live sketch comedy type of video, which really made her stand out. In the video, Jenna pokes fun at herself, saying things like,
"Go out and get yourself a job that's super degrading. I picked dancing in my underwear. Before I go to work, I like to pump myself up by crying over my master's degree."
Jenna uploaded this now famous video on a Friday. She thought nothing of it, and within 2 days, it had 750,000 views. Think about that. Like nearly a decade ago. By Monday, it had reached 1 million views. Within 9 days, it got 6 million views. At that point, Jenna's channel was only getting a couple hundred views per video. That was March of 2010. But by August, Jenna's videos were getting millions of views. By September of 2011, just over a year after her viral hit, Jenna reached 1 million subscribers. By January of 2012, she was at 2 million. By December of 2012, Jenna Marbles had 5.4 million subscribers, over 1 billion views, and was receiving on average 10 million views per video. By 2013, Jenna was the 5th most subscribed to YouTube channel and the top subscribed female YouTuber. Jenna Marbles was one of the very first YouTubers. But even by today's standards, when YouTube influencers are such a huge part of social media and pop culture, Jenna's success is huge. Knowing that she was getting this kind of exposure on YouTube 9 years ago, when YouTube was still in its infancy, when most people weren't regularly watching YouTube like they are right now, it really makes this part of her story truly remarkable and really makes her a trailblazer for all of us women here on YouTube. Jenna started connecting with more people in the YouTube community. And as she made these connections with these really cool, interesting creators, she noticed that they were all living in LA. And where was Jenna? She was in Boston. So Jenna decided to pack up and move across the country to LA to be with this new community of YouTubers and influencers in early 2011. In 2012, Jenna met Julian Solomita, and their friendship soon blossomed into a romantic relationship. But she kept this relationship pretty private and totally and completely off of her channel. She'd actually been pretty open on her channel about her relationships in the past, and she saw how damaging it was to be so public about that. As Jenna's popularity exploded on YouTube, the press and the media, they didn't really know what to do with her. They never really considered her a real celebrity because she wasn't an actress, she wasn't on a TV show, she wasn't in movies, she wasn't a musician, she wasn't even a reality TV star. So what exactly was Jenna Marbles? In the early 2010s, influencers, as we know now, 10 or so years later, it wasn't really a thing. It wasn't like every other person you knew was an influencer. She had the popularity and widespread recognition of a reality TV star, but she wasn't on TV. She was famous on the internet. Jenna was a homegrown talent who millions of people loved. But the media, unfortunately, they didn't take her seriously because the concept of an internet celebrity, which we know so much about today, was so new and revolutionary at the time. She didn't fit into any of the recognized celebrity molds, so no one really knew how to properly categorize her. And as a result, unfortunately, she wasn't taken very seriously. Jenna appeared on several news segments and television interviews as her YouTube fame grew, but she was repeatedly scrutinized and framed as a joke. Even reputable journalists would misrepresent facts, saying that she had 1 billion followers, which that wasn't right. She didn't have 1 billion followers. She had 1 billion views. They would make fun of the way she talked, and they counted how many times she would say ridiculous. At one point, the interviewer even asked Jenna,
"Do you think you deserve to have as many fans as you do?"
But Jenna maintained composure and responded pretty well in these situations. Jenna would later go on to write about this specific interview in her blog and call it patronizing. Hank Green chimed in and said, "What do you get when you describe YouTube star Jenna Marbles as a flash-in-the-pan viral sensation who only appeals to teens and makes videos about nothing?" Well, you get the wrath of Hank Green. Their condescending interview segment implied that Jenna's success relied on good looks and a few gimmicks, rather than what it was really about, which was clever writing and editing and comedic timing and subtle social commentary. Good Morning America interview with Jenna on YouTube has 680 thumbs up and 6,400 thumbs down votes on YouTube, which really shows how the media just got everything about Jenna completely wrong. In June of 2014, Jenna got an offer to host a YouTube 15 music radio show with Sirius XM, where she would play the top 15 trending songs on YouTube for the week. Just a month later, Jenna Marbles and her partner Jillian launched a podcast and a new combined YouTube channel. The podcast gave Jenna's fans a glimpse into who she really was as a person. There were lengthy, uncut portions where Jenna was her true, authentic self. Her openness and candidness with her relationship with Julian only deepened her fans' connections to her. But as Jenna's success outside of YouTube was growing, her channel actually started to slow down and stagnate. More and more people were coming onto YouTube, and YouTubers were really starting to become a thing. She was one of many now, and Jenna often wondered how she could compete with the new up-and-coming stars of YouTube, especially if she continued to only post once a week, where others were uploading daily. Recognizing that it was probably time for her to shift or change directions, Jenna started creating more vlog-style videos that showcased her life and less of the skit-style videos that had made her so popular in the first place. In 2015, Jenna's superstardom and celebrity was forever immortalized with a wax figure at Madame Tussauds. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, making her among the first YouTube personalities to have their own wax figure displayed there. Jenna was so thrilled and honored to be a part of this. And in true Jenna Marbles fashion, she invited her fans to visit the wax figure and grope the butt of the wax figure however often they wanted. Despite having millions of followers and over 1 billion views, what is most unusual about Jenna is that she time and time declined offers to do sponsored content. She told Larry King in an interview,
I think that with the internet, the most important thing that you have is that you're a genuine person and that people trust you and they trust that when they turn on YouTube, it's really you. And I think that, you know, working with brands and things can be great, and a lot of people do it really well. But for me, it feels very much like stuffing my own pockets with money and taking advantage of the people that are there to see me.
So money doesn't drive you?
No.
I think a lot of current day YouTubers can take a page out of Jenna's book on that one. Jenna was so dedicated to maintaining her independence as a creator that for years, she declined to work with networks or have any kind of assistant or producer. And she had so many requests to work in traditional media and appear on television shows or in movies, and she still time and time declined. What I also find really interesting about Jenna is that she actually never used a thumbnail strategy. She rarely created her own thumbnails, and she typically let YouTube pick the thumbnail for her. As a YouTube strategist and producer, this really flies in the face of everything I teach and everything that has proven to work. And this goes to show you how much YouTube actually has changed and how competitive it is now and how the rules from 10 years ago don't really apply today. Jenna was still able to have millions of subscribers without really putting any thought or work into her thumbnail. But if she were to start her YouTube channel today, could she be so cavalier about her thumbnails? I don't think so. But you know what? It worked for her then, and it continued to work for her for years. 2016 was the year Jenna finally agreed to be a part of a digital TV series adaptation of James Patterson's Maximum Ride. She took on the role of executive producer, where her job was to help tailor the film to appeal to its target audience. So why, after so many years of declining offers, did she agree to do this one? Well, it being a digital series and Jenna being Team Internet helped. Jenna really is representative of the internet and internet stardom, and I think that possibly convinced her to take part in this digital series. But she also loved how fans of the book were reaching out to her on social media and giving their suggestions of who she should cast, making them feel like they really had a say in how the show would eventually turn out. In January of 2019, there was a resurgence of interest in Jenna Marbles, which at that point had a lot of content centered around her dogs. But her fans had noticed that Jenna seemed disinterested in creating content. She didn't seem nearly as excited or lively as she used to be. And a lot of people were predicting that the end of her and her YouTube career was near. I mean, how can you continue to come up with new content for 10 years straight with a big push by the younger creators and the newer creators to push out older creators for previously offensive content? While Jenna was not as harshly criticized as some of her contemporaries, she did come forward in 2020 to apologize for the offensive content she'd created in the past. In a since-deleted 11-minute video, Jenna announced that her time on the platform was coming to an end, and she apologized and took responsibility for older videos that she had been criticized for as racist, where she even went so far as wearing blackface. The apology was sincere and authentic as she confronted her past and owned up to what she had done wrong and the hurt she had caused others. As of now, Jenna has 20.1 million subscribers on YouTube, but has yet to make her return, and she's not posted on her Instagram in over a year. So what was Jenna's impact on YouTube and social media? What makes her special? How was she able to stay relevant for 10 years? For many years, Jenna Marbles was the #1 female creator on YouTube with millions of followers. Here's my take on it. First, she was committed to her upload schedule and would upload every single Wednesday like clockwork. Second, she never gave into fame. She never sold out, and she was never, ever motivated by money. Can we say the same for a lot of internet celebrities today? Unfortunately, I don't think so. Her motivation came from within. And really, I mean, it seemed to me, and let me know your thoughts, but she just really wanted to have fun. And third, people are drawn to Jenna because of her authenticity and relatability. There's something about YouTube content that makes it more intimate and real versus a scripted television show, a reality show, or a movie. Jenna's never really tried to be anything that she wasn't. And as she grew, aged, and matured into her 30s, those who followed her and watched her for years, they grew up along with her. And she's always been true to herself. And she stated that she hopes that she encouraged and inspired other women to be themselves online too. Jenna Marbles was one of the first YouTube stars and has undeniably paved the way for female YouTube creators. Jenna helped carve out a new genre of celebrity outside of television, movies, or music, and her legacy in the world of social media has inspired a generation. So tell me, ladies, has Jenna ever inspired you? Do you remember watching her way back in the day? Maybe you're someone who continued to watch her until she left. How has her story impacted you in any way? And did I miss anything about her journey? Is there anything about her journey that you feel should have been mentioned in this video? So if you like this type of biography, let me know in the comments, like the video, and let me know if there's anybody else that you would like me to do. And I will see you in the next video. Mwah!